spoken worder. 3 years ago I woke up in a police cell, drunk, and wanted to end everything that was going on in my life. What happened then was I started doing what the doctors told me. After getting on citalopram, I literally walked the hills for days on end, and the rhythmic cadence started to produce words. The words then got wrote down, the words then healed, and what you get in front of you now is A.K. Leon the pig farmer, who was a Jewish guy who inherited a pig farm in 1992 in a British dark film. That's the name. Any vegans or vegetarians in the house? I have never raised, I have never killed swine. So there's no issue there. There will be trigger warnings. I talk about the dark parts of my life. I talk about what's going on, the demons. I refer to them as horrible dark places. I'm the professor of sin. I am a light-footed tiptoe man. I'm the abandonment of all hope. I flew in reverse, avoided the rope. I'm a life raft shaky and deflated. I'm an ego that was self-created. I'm a fifth gear of steam machine. I'm a psychologist stamp and dream. I was great getting in and bad getting out. Twisters, hurricanes, electric clouds. Rain and sun all in a day. There's no pot of gold. My rainbow's grey. But why did I stand in empty rooms with the lights all off holding balloons? Why did I stand on a rocking chair and a blanket discarded and a chill in the air? Because I am the man in the mirror. I am a self-deceiver. I was a destiny creator, but believe me, I was a self-hater. Yes, I'm socially responsive. I was surging negative. I am master of self-flagellation. I have convictions for manipulation. I wore a plastic veil to hide the stare. I stood in halls of badgers' lairs. I climbed trees to lay in hay. It was a schoolboy error. It was the price I paid. I was sentenced to gutters with time served. 1 in a million, the door is jarred. Tectonic shudders set me free. They let me breathe and made me believe. But I've now left this Hibernian land. I tread in grains of volcanic sand. Do you know there is only a space and a comma between man's laughter and man's slaughter? Because I am the whisper man. There's no more catch me if you can. No longer a theatre projectionist. No smoke and mirrors or blue mist. And I've seen those bulging eyes of confusion, misunderstanding my recent corrosion. The locks were broken, the chains removed, the storm has passed, there is nothing to prove. So they can go ahead, they can scream their sirens, they can flash blue lights, they can hide behind them. They can go blow whistles and muster troops, because we look different when speaking the truth. Because I offended in the law's links of steel, a bridal mask suppressed me squeals, the cat of nine tails for thieves in gangs and the candlelight crevice offered one last chance. The bird trip's broken at the scrubbing block, it's a silent system at the night watch clock, heraldic symbols of a birdfoot sign and the skylight view for the moon at night. So punish, redeem or set me free from the solitary state penitentiary. Brand this left arm on a stone cold floor, just smash the brass bell against the riveted door, because the turnkey of times, the felon of the free, the treadwheel of the labours against bars of disbelief, because the barricaded walls and the barbed wire fence, the sandstone halls and the critically condemned. Do you know they threw me into a pigeon room? A desperate dungeon for this dogged mule. False failures form foundations. I am now the yeomanry of new revelations. So turn the key, turn the key. It's a life sentence and 3 cycles complete. I've jumped their bar to forge a freedom. I've took my lion's share of this uncaged kingdom. I no longer look through fingered hands. The door's unhinged with a battering ram. No debt accrued to the sordid system. This Trojan horse completes its mission, and I no longer deal in the grape and grain. I fall and now I float among lovely crashing waves. No debt accrued to test my sanity. Lesson has been learnt, no chaos. You cannot beat gravity. Thank you. This next one's about a flashback. I live near Sadworth Moor, the other side of Manchester, and the topography of the land there is very similar to South Armagh, where I lived for a couple of years. I say lived. I inhabited a small bed space in South Armagh when I was in the British Army, and yeah, the land is very similar. And I went walking with a friend photographer, and I turned around. He had a camera lens, which I thought was a sniper's sight, and I just totally freaked out and went mental. And there was a helicopter going above, because we have a lot of Moors fires up there, and I literally dragged myself back to 1995, and it was the most terrifying experience ever. So this bit is about that. And it's 2 poems back to back. It's Stranded and Beats in the Night. I'm stranded on a newfound path. It's a short, sharp reminder to the aftermath. The helicopter hovered in Bird Peat Hills, but stop the toxic, traumatic treadmill. The castle and the quarry to the reservoir. It's reminiscent of the Romeos in South Armagh. I drop and drift to a rancid reflection, and it's time to decide with identity correction. Because the smokescreen mirrors and a voice to muzzle, and the jigsaw pieces will solve the puzzle. I'm looking straight down, and my boots are brown, and I pivot to a lens. There's no sniper found. I'm handrailing the fences, free from wires. No 3-coloured cloth to fuel the fire. I am hands-free. I'm not shackled to the metal, and the weight on my shoulders is light as a petal. There's no chimp on my back to make me crack, no smile from a joker to cut the slack, no wait out call from another mum's sons, and the hills, they don't have eyes, I'm back to the old wooden ones. So I escape this portal of travelling in time, no contact call's gonna blow my mind. I look to the pike and the pots and pans, no need for Winthrop around these farms. So I'm staring to the white rose land, no threat or thirst or hate demand. I've jumped my shoulder and I've dropped the ditch, and I've searched the soul and I forget the itch. But I'm safe in the thought of these pissed on ashes. I challenge the ground and the Indian's feathers, the skeleton ghost that turned me to stone. It's now giving me the key to live and learn. And as I get home, the shapeshifters begin to crawl, because shapeshifters lingered on my stairs. They crawl the walls, now I don't care. Techno fills my darkened room, but now I dance to my own tune. There was a silent disco in my head. It thumped and pumped in my dank rank bed. A sugar-coated little dancers, they flipped me over to a new beatmaster. There was 28 little ones lying in the bed. Roll over, the demon said. I stamped my foot, I cleared the clouds. There's no more dreams when I'm dressed in shrouds. The doctors and the medics, they suggested more. I said I ain't no pill-popping pharmacy whore, and I want to alight the prescription train and board one soulful, avoid the rain. I'm cutting and pasting all my signs, I'm juggling the jingles in my mind. I've changed the reel to suit the suit, I'm going to bring it all back to a brand new juncture. So I'll show them a circle with a cross. It's a 4-track single that explains my loss. The grounding mantra, on side B, but on side A, you can smell the sleeve. There's a melancholy tune to hide the tears, and I beat the fun drum to please the peers. I sold anthems belonging to me, but now I will reclaim my identity. So come start this heart with about 120, staying alive, because in life there's plenty. Press the chest, feel the beat. I'm that red post box in Manchester on Corporation Street. You can bomb, shoot, mortar and spit at me, but I will never, ever admit defeat. Thank you. The next one is about giving up that line of work and other places I work for in government employment, because as a very liberal, left, socialist, if it hadn't such a strong personality, it would be classed as bullying to some people, the comments that you receive, and because of your views and you want to enter a certain organisation to make change, yet the cogs within that organisation don't allow that. So this is to them and to my ability to be able to have strength to leave that and then take an artistic path where I'm a lot much more happier now. So yeah, this goes out to people who reinvent the wheels and won't have change, and they live under a bureaucratical umbrella. I was a willow masquerading as oak, black charred branches, a fragile cloak. On the misty dawn of discontent, I ran up hills backwards to jump the fence. I've got no confidence in confidentiality. I've jumped into a wormhole, a sea, serenity, a propaganda puppet in a pantomime, kissing rusty pawned off rings that they still hide behind. A hollow measurement, a burden to all. Their prime real estate, who's going to take the fall? I've sold rationale in a state of panic, and I've bled from my femur inside a straight jacket. I've rearranged tasteless, forgotten files. I've incubated hurt that bubbled inside. See, Victor, he tells the tales and stories. I'm just black flat back four and the guardian of fake glories. And I went in search of reverberating sound. I fell to my knees just to kiss the ground. I want surface tension, I want surface noise. I want to feel that texture of broken toys. I was protons, I was neutrons, but I was controlled by morons. I Samaritans on speed dial for someone to call on. I boarded this plane to a prescribed paradise. I've took the chance, I've rebooted my mind's eye. I threw that magic sequel 6. I've percolated hate held in my fist. I avoid the parables of pain and persecution. I'm now strong as an ox. It's time for the revolution. Because this beast has now fled their flaming forest. My eyes are ablaze with a life so torrid. There's no option but to smash the glass. I've raised alarms from that painful past. I was caught in a trap without limbs tied. A golden padlock suppressed me cries. A poison dart can't stop this rage, and I've got no fear from their cancerous cage. Hostile havens, I've seen it all before. I'm looking for scapegoats and a route from the door. No macropod to purge in poison courts, no evolution or lessons learned. You see, they skulk and hide in their bed of bracken. They're not capable of letting justice happen. Come on, let's search our souls more than a cheap frisk. You want to chase this game? You better assess the risk. Because sanctuary's sought in a dusty plain. It's a desperate desert for the crying game. The balance of power will shift to prey, so stand the ground to avert and remain. There are no shark's fins to raise alarms, no hyena's laughs to praise or charm. When surprise fails, there will be a chase. It's now agility versus power under this undulating course. So I head to the hills in survival migration. They cower in a cage of ethical hibernation. I've escaped their cauldron by skin of teeth with no remorse or guilt. I don't know how they sleep. See, my beast is now tame in a harness of hate, and its only roar is to their hunter's bait. My chameleon's colours will never correspond to the fiery furnace where they belong. Thank you. This next one steps it up, and it's literally around everywhere that I'd worked in the military after growing up as a kid in the 70s, playing with toy guns, then being given a real one, but realising that when you're a kid and you're saying bang bang, they now fire back at you. It's not very nice. So it goes on to that, but then it also goes on to, once my PTSD comes out, that the people who were responsible for mental health and well-being washed their hands, and there was no one there to pick up once the demons started creeping in. So this goes out to them. It's called the Toy Soldiers and the Power Junkies. Bang, bang, you're dead. This is games as kids that we never read. Bang, bang, you're dead. Toy guns, no one bled. Bang, bang, you're dead. Cops and robbers, we mimicked feds. And bang, bang, you're dead. Cowboys and Indians with potato guns, it spread. But then bang, bang with a plastic gun. But then they were real and it ain't much fun. There was banging in Angola, guns pointed at my head and it went too far. Banging in Kigali, corpses scattered and slaughtered I see. Banging in Armagh, me and me mate got sniped from afar. And banging no more, when those mortars dropped I shook to the floor. So then there's banging inside my head and I sweat profusely in my bed. Banging onto a door, it's a doctor's surgery, a chemist's hoard. Banging into the street, some in their veins, they admit defeat. Banging onto another door, it was the publicans where I fell to the floor. And banging with a tent peg, some are still living rough with just one leg. So I am banging on the politicians. I think you need to revise your mission. Servicemen are going insane and that's on top of being maimed. Plenty more now in public sector. The NHS, they don't think your words are getting better. Civvy Street has thousands more. They're all knocking and queuing up at St Peter's door. So sort the shit and get a grip. There are people dying and you're not equipped. Because you dwell in ivory towers and you try to apportion blame. You thrive on a sense of power and you never feel no shame. You're tied to political societies, you're detached from pledge and plea. Sincerity and support, that's blasphemy. You've got no thoughts for others' needs because you hide behind your protocol and you do not defend the masses. Protecting one's agenda, they deprive the working classes. Blinkered ideals, priorities broke, they're ascending shaky stairs. Because that seat's no throne, it's a fucking joke, so don't tell me that you care. So when you cast your judgment, ignoring reason and pain, your thoughts were spared for theirs or my lament, because you had nothing to gain. We were cast off to recycle, reinvent, rework, restyle. Now if you ask for my assistance or vote, Boris, Rishi or anyone else, I'm going to run a mile. And now that I've got your attention, what about those with feline lives? Those you brush under the carpet, why is it us that guard the knives? Partly your fault why I'm sat here, no thought for my psycho sanity. I was flogged, I was bled for a TV slot so they could feast and feed on their vanity. Thank you. We were in a very cosy room, so I'm trying not to shout with anger that I normally do. I'm trying to keep it quite Sunday and mellow and on top of the game without giving it too much, because when I get pumped up, I tend to let more expletives out to punctuate my anger.
Shout.
Just shout.
Just shout.
Yeah, but then comes the F's and Jeffs, and I'm thinking we're a lovely little audience here tonight, so I'm keeping it as restrained as I can. This next one is called The Monkey and the Devil. The cans are flying.
Yeah.
You wish you were all here in America. You wish you were here now. The cans are flying. The party started. Yeah, this one's called The Monkey and the Devil, and there's one line in it in the first half, which is Saromoki Kara Achuru, which is Japanese proverb for even a monkey falls from a tree. And literally, for anyone over the pond or in here, I'm a Yorkshireman, that literally means anyone can fuck up. So it's how you pick yourself back up and crack on. So there's a line in that, and then I blend into the devil after the monkey. The monkey's the chimp that plays in my head. He's a mischievous little git and he never goes away. 3 years on and he's still there at times telling me to go out on benders and do crazy shit, and I've really got to chain him down with a big padlock. But yeah, we're doing alright. But yeah, the next bit's the devil, and I took him on. We had a scrap and I won the last time. I've lost a few times, come out kicking with bruises, but yeah, we're on top of him, and this is what that is. There's the geezer with the long leather coat, red paisley bandana that covers his throat. A tilted trilby, eye so vicious, and he lurks in the corner of my subconscious. He's a waiter to the world and my emotional dysfunction. He serves ready meals to my personal destruction. I accept his twisted, malevolent suggestion, and I dine on guilt and a bottle of correction. But when did I let him decide and wait for the bill to restore my pride? The menu reads like an old damaged story, with every attempt to remove life's glory. Well, this is Twilight Crazy Town. Why should I pay with my voice and sound? I dig deep and I delve for me 9 out of 10. 3-course thoughts to feelings to actions I'll win, and then I stop. And I reflect, and I don't collaborate or even reject. I'm intrusive. I ask my thoughts why, and I don't contemplate or listen to lies. Did he serve you? Did they get in the way? Do they deserve you? Can those thoughts stay? Never be ashamed of what you've done. Be punching proud of what you've become. I confronted stories of tigers and hunters, of milk and honey, and they made me wonder. A pauper farmer and a broken son. Those of wild horses and what the army had done. I will throw paper into fighter planes. These are flying fucks to help not blame. I won't let the cash cow grind me down. I'm going to take back my orb and the thornless crown. I'll pour water on flames of suppression. I'll pour petrol on hopes if we want to burn with passion. I'll restore cracks with glistening gold. We are unique histories and a story to be told. Because that reaper, he'll sit with a rusty blade. He is frowning, he's cowering, our futures are made. Here is a message I will give to you. Saromoki kara achiru. Because even a monkey falls from a tree. Mine certainly fell from a tree, and it's how you pick yourself up and believe. Because then I had a scrap with the devil. Because my heart is now presented without a black and tortured soul. I'm instructing Lucifer, go and fuck off home. I'll unhinge, remove myself from the ebony cross. I'll extract those nails one by one and hold my hands aloft. So come on then, Diablo, let your dog off the leash. I'm going to stare into his gaping jaws, I'll break its pissing teeth. The black sheep fingers are burned, still placed on a trigger. I'm a darkened silhouette, he's a lonely standing figure. So come on then, old Nick, I ain't afraid of this. I'm going to grip you, I'm going to choke you, I'm going to silence your snake kiss. I will escort you from this party and vanquish you, because it's my life. Oh, and you think you can extinguish my candle in the night? I don't think so, darkened prince. You can't shine brighter. I'm the fierce dog now. I'm a battler and I'm a fire. And I will not be imprisoned or suffering a golden silence. The cemetery gates are ripped open and I'm going to dance without a shyness. But we can sit here in our Baphomet. You've played your final ace. I'm healing. You're deceiving. I spit in your fucking face. Thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, let me breathe a little minute. It's warm. The lights. Yeah, so this is my first book, Talking Myself Out of Trouble. I released this May last year. I DIY'd it. I like autonomy. I don't want anyone that if controlling the art, and I've had a few people want to come and do stuff with me and I've said no, because they want to control book covers, they want to control context, they want to control the artwork. And with this one I worked with a recovering alcoholic who did some brilliant Marvel style work in the middle of it, and he did some really good graphic artwork, some of which I ended up getting tattooed on my arm because I thought it was that good. And then I can give to him and give to charities, which I couldn't do to the same extent if I went and worked with some other people that had discussed with me. So that's me talking myself out of trouble. The reason I'm doing that here this weekend is because after this month of July, I'm not putting this to bed. I will still keep perform some of the words, but I am going to be releasing a second book, which I'll introduce you to at the end, and it's called Don't Believe the Hype. And it's an ode to Public Enemy, to the rap ban, to suppression, to government inabilities to govern a country properly, and it's how society has declined, global issues around warming and war, and it's all in there that there is certain people in the audience that don't watch telly or papers, which I totally think is a brilliant idea, because your minds do not get suppressed or poisoned that way. So it's like that, that's what it's about. Don't believe the hype. I live in Manchester, it's over gentrified, and it's full of glass palaces rather than picking people off the street and giving them a home for the night. So it makes me angry. Now my head's healed, I'm getting angry about other people in power rather than my own head. So that's why I'm doing this month. I'm literally putting some of it to bed as a healed ex-serviceman, and I want to move on and tell other stories in the world which need to be told, which are just as important, or more important, than what's going on with bullying dictators, than what's actually just going on in my head. Plug over. I'm going to run on to the second half. I've got lots to get through in this, and I'm going to give you a couple of readings from this, because although I've got 40 odd poems in my head, there's some that I like which I've not managed to get verbatim yet. And this one's called I Am Oxymoronic. And it's as many oxymorons I could probably try and fit in about mental health. I've been a constant contradiction. I was a designer, genuine imitation. I balanced life failures successfully, hiding sad smiles with lips sealed loosely. Like the living dead, I let out silent screams. A deafening silence filled my dreams. Visible darkness began to surround. In this minor crisis, I stood down. Poor mental health grew smaller in me. A loyal opposition? Definitely, maybe. Zero tolerance as a one-man band, one to choose least favoured time. Openly deceptive and deceptively honest. A cheerful pessimist, conspicuously absent. Lead balloon dropped, I buried the wise fool. Comfortably miserable, I earned by steel wool. Clearly confused, I whispered loudly. Static flowed in a lonely crowd, you see. A vertical horizon, I climbed down lower. I raised plastic glasses under friendly fire. I'm no longer deeply superficial. I'm bittersweet in this minor miracle. Terribly pleased it's not pretty ugly. Now old news, and seriously funny. Thank you. And this one's called The Doghouse. Where I've been many times. The mongrel still barks, just intermittent, but it still annoyingly barks. no muzzle or chiming chain. It runs free in hostile hounds. It howls in vacant wasteland echoes, desolate alleys and windowless warehouses. It's transparent, it's a shadow, it's a ghost and whispers in my dreams. I wear its leather-studded harness, pulling and tugging my own leash. I smell rotten flesh as it's hunted, when it's dripping, foaming jaws. Its nostrils flare to the scent of consent, my nocturnal nemesis, callous canine conjurer, tossing the bones of a fragile fairy tale so I douse myself in daily mantras. Laying motionless with grievous glare, I refuse to feed the sordid state it creates, teeth grating on bars of a septic cage, dwelling in its dirt and disgust. I watch its blood-soaked claws burrow towards the paper floor. Huntings are its creation, nightmares are its vocation. Its victims contort and scream in night shadows, bathed in putrid pessimistic pools. The rusty key is secreted on shaky shelves, once secured by broken nails. But my whistle blew away that itch. I've tossed the ball and fed a poisoned toy. That cry from a perforating pitch. Yeah, I now blow the whistle, bitch. Thank you. This next two are, I'm also in a two-piece band called The Dirt, which is spoken word. Not very much like Gil Scott Heron, who we played. It's a lot less funky, it's a lot more loud, punky and distorted psychedelia. But we do things like that. My wife plays loop distorted guitars and effects. I do very simple basic monkey drumming, but then I do the vocals, so that's what we do. So if anyone's in that kind of like sort of left field experimental music, I'll talk to you about that afterwards, called The Dirt. But these are lyrics from that, and it's called The Bully. It's coming. I can feel it. You're coming and I know it. What are you going to choose this time? I was doing alright, feeling just fine. You think you can win? I think not. You're trying your best to prove what? You get in my head, make me worthless, and you'll soon get tired of this trespass. So come on then, let me see you. It's my kingdom where I rule. You'll get weak and retreat. You're going to lick your wounds in defeat. But here you are, I ain't missed you. See, you're pulling strings, it's what you do. Pumping, sweating, aching, hurt. You're grinding, clenching, you're kicking up dirt. But is that all you've got, my old foe? I'm stronger now, didn't you know? I've got an army of weapons to slay you and a clearer mind to see through you. So that's it, run off cowardice. I ain't drawn in by your temptress. I'm calm, relaxed, I'm solid. You're evil, you're toxic, you're rancid. Because you see, ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. Because you do know what it feels like to have your eyes sewn up. Do you know what it feels like to have your mouth slammed shut? Liberation chastised, expiration denied. Looking from the inside, I'm denied access outside. And do you know what it feels like when you don't know what to say? Do you know what it feels like when you suffer pain each day? No? You see, I'm really trying. No? Well, I've stopped crying. No? Well, I've bottled up. And no, I just give up. But then I woke up. So do you know what it feels like to be lying in this mess? And do you know what it feels like when you just want to confess, to be waking up with clenched teeth, wanting to stay beneath, dreading all the frictions and dealing with conflictions? So will you walk beside me in the darkest of my days, or do you just want to walk beside me in the days of warm sun rays? So please give me freedom. Don't stop me when I run. Please let me soothe my pain. Let me take my head out of the clouds and away from the acid rain. Because ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. Thank you. Okay, this next one is also some words that I do, and it's called Insider Outsider, and I'm going to follow it on with a bit called Hankering, which is about when you change your pattern of life and you're no longer a binge drinking party animal, and some of your friends that cadge off you and take things from you no longer want to know you because you're kind of like surface to requirements then, once you kind of like settle down and have a normal life and becoming the creatives, and the people that once backed you when the system was bullying you then start giving it the awkward comments when you go into the arts. So I just kind of like dropped them and went, no, Boff, you're not worth keeping. So it kind of goes out to them as well. And he goes like this: 20 years curtailment, hands were tied in knots, hands fused by gold cuffs and opinions buried in the box. I was on board the ship to keep boundaries and avoid the destruct button. I was staring at light down a tunnel and I was avoiding the wield of a baton. I was inside looking outside, I was on the outside looking in. Marooned on a wall between two fields, I was the antithesis to dominion. Where lies were told to keep secrets, avoid the inevitable one. Walk around without a face, bottle up and tell no one. But this bottle's gonna blow, it's gonna burst out from the seams. I've got head spin, mindfuck actions, I will leave it questioning dreams. So whether I'm in or on the outside, or the outside looking in, if I jump from that ship that kept me, will I swim or sink? But now I fly like a butterfly. There's no sting in this worker bee. I rise above and I kiss the sky. They won't bring me to my knees. Because whether I'm in or on the outside, I'm the one setting my rules. They've had their pound of flesh. I'm no longer their horse or fool. Because they're hankering for my riches, but they've never worn my rags. They want to feel my freedom. They want to try carrying my bags. And you're harbouring my history without living in my past. Take my hand now, Sonny Jim, I'm going to lead you down the garden path. And you want to wear the cotton that's covering my back. Your lies couldn't wash this side of the track. And you want to walk and wander in my shoes in the day. When you couldn't sleep at night if you had to guard my Gothic gates. And you want to relive my memories without the dancing to my tune. You couldn't sail my ship or navigate my supermoon. You see, I'm not a tribute train set or a thunder stealer. You're not the dodger who's artful or a melody maker. I'm the stitch in time who saves nine. I'm the bridge to brotherhood. You're a shoe shop of charade selling should, would or could. See, there is no mirror life for the steps I took. They can go right there, Tory, their horrible Torremolinos postcards. I'll just write my fucking book. Thank you. This next one is about going and seeing two Wiccan priestesses, two witches, and having crystal healing done. Put on all my chakras, and they did a mad tantric dance around me. And I was like, recommended to these two ladies, and I thought, in for a penny, in for a pound. Got quite a liberal mind open. And what I experienced was the most mental trip I think I've ever had. And it's about that, about just having these two women dance around you, humming and talking in very Wiccan pagan language, and I turned it into a song as well. So it's called Wiccan Transition. I'm a tattered tapestry needing restoration, self-esteem and actualisation. I ascend the pyramid stone by stone. It took longer than this to build Rome. Laid on a slab with a wicked web, to chant and wail at foot and head, rocks to place at 7 points. Let the pentacle cast its voice. Inhale, release, let set afloat. I now transform to Saturn's sea goat, where crows descend of friend not foe. They hover above and look down below. Bathe me in semi-precious stones, ground me, let the energy flow. The scarab beetle watched my back, and the rose quartz brought me back on track. I swam in Acropolis in the nude, with felines and great fortitude. The white horse began to fade, and the Templars saved me again and again. Wind, water, fire and earth, they were shooting stars, I began rebirth. Waking to my secrets told in pails of tears in a new age world. You see, they raided the corners of my mind, and they stroked the horns of my birth sign. They took me home to exercise the pain. They moved the sword and the shackle shame. You see, I thought I was buried in an empty tomb. I was just planted, it's time to bloom. The moon may wax and it will wane. When this opposition show, opportunity is gained. Because I entered the Wiccan transition. I am in the Wiccan transition. I'm now finished and out into a life of believing and non-inhibition. I'm on a Wiccan transition. Thank you. Following on from that, I'm going to tell you about the weird trippy dreams I had when I first started taking citalopram. They said give up alcohol, so I did. I needed to. And it was literally around the mad dreams I had when I first started taking it. They said, oh, you'll have weird dreams, and I never thought they'd be this mental, but they were good. And I started writing them down because they were that vivid and I remembered them. And again, without a plug, I turned these into lyrics, which I do as The Dirt, and it's quite an electronic track, and it's called Dream State. I cramp, I stamp, I daily walk the plank, and then I pulled the torn ripcord. I'm staring at walls in a trance of carrying calls. Secrets arrive from stories that I stored. I answer them impulsively in their hoard, but why can't I be a shopping channel server? I'm watching feather bombs explode overhead. Barricaded walls were made of lotus flower. I sit on a seesaw in a deep sea diver suit, and the owlet kissed a stop clock face. I'm building totem poles of terrapins' heads. Men with mushroom heads slept in mushroom beds. A masquerade ball magician, he wore boxing gloves, and I remove revelations from a rusty green bucket. Tomorrow I'll drink tea from a garden sprinkler. I'll sculpt alien life form from grubby blue tack. The charmer space farmer sold poppers, pills and potions, and I run backwards up a steep cobbled hill. See, I escaped this ambivalent false fairy tale, where scenes were interrupted by ice cream van cries. I empty mosaic mind bins with extended limbs. Then I consider the Russian doll syndrome that I had created. And then I dream. And then I dream. And then I dream. And I wish myself good night. Thank you. The last one that's from this book I'm going to do is called Toolbox, and it's something that came out in my therapy. I had two cognitive behaviour therapists. One was good and one was horrible. Lame and horrible. She blamed it all on my promiscuity, my drinking, and said that was the reason why I ended up in a police cell. I went, there's more to this than meets the eye. So I challenged it, I got someone else, and then they managed to drag out all his PTSD from army stuff and from childhood, and it was very successful, and then I felt a lot better. But the first one was a nightmare, and this is a poem called The Occupational Health Terrorist and the Toolbox. So the first one is about the terrorist who was absolutely diabolical, and the second one is how this woman created a toolbox and helped me get through it, and all the people that then joined my journey. And that is the last one I'll do on the mental health, and then I'm just going to go into a little segue at the end, which I'll give you some light-hearted social commentary stuff, because I don't want to leave you here being miserable to think that I've just talked to you for 40 minutes about being demonic in my head, suicidal, horrible. I wanted to leave you on a lighter note to know that there is light in the soul, and I'm an happy-go-lucky lad now.
It's not miserable, no.
It's not, is it enlightening?
No.
Good, thank you very much. So there's one more, The Occupational Terrorist and the Toolbox. I will then give you a quick extraction from my new book coming out, which slates Boris Johnson and all his cronies. And then I'm going to do a little light-hearted set at the end, if everyone's all right with that. And then I will finish, and we can have a natter afterwards if you like. So this one's called The Occupational Terrorist. Let's go back to your childhood. Can we talk when you were young? Did you get on with your father? I said, no, I just lived with my mum. Could this be the start of your issues, or is there something more? Are you the eldest, youngest, stuck in the middle? I said, can we just get to the core? I've got no sibling issues or rivalry, and there's a fella that did step in. And I did jump ship at 17, but it was for work, not run from kin. Is there anything that stands out? Is there particular times that scare you? I said, well, there was the army, not fucking pontins, and it was gunshots, mortars, malaria. Is there anything else that stands, the particular times that scare you? I said, it was the army, not fucking pontins, there was gunshots, mortars, malaria. But I did walk a blue line for solace, and I needed a brand new chapter, and I pushed my boundaries too far, and it's not all happy after. So what's the cause of your satire? Are you a drinker, or are you a sinner? I said, well, I was very partial to ladies, but is being promiscuous part of being a sinner? She told me she was a toothless tiger, and she'll put a pen to paper. She said, do what the doctors tell you, take your pills, and I'll see you later. Well, I walked out with boxes ripped open. There was no penny or a quarter mil. She said, go find your answers in walks and dreams, or au revoir, c'est la vie, next in. But the next one told me about the toolbox. Because I do now have a toolbox that helps me through the pain. I've got influences of all kind. They're all different, none the same. Yes, there's pills and lavender that facilitate dormant nights. There's country walks and audio files, and they antagonise the frights. But tools that I depend on are those of flesh and blood. Ones that lift me when I'm down, they drag from darkened woods. There's those that raise and nurture me, provide a place of calm. Those that bull talk straight to me, and they shield me from the harm. There's those that open hearts up, and those that let me breathe. Those that support my absence, so they don't question my need. There's those that let me bend an ear and rant on any whim. Those that forgive everything of guilt and rage of sin. Some others open front doors and they let me feel at home. Some just send a random text and they know I'm not alone. There's the happy child, the blissful one, she's opened up my eyes. So calm and tranquil said to me, and she soothes my battle cries. But these tools are what have made me, and they've built me firm and strong. They lured the phoenix to rise, they amplified the peacock's song. But tools are made for talking, and that's not all they do. One of these days, these tools, they're going to make me break on through. Thank you. So, slight little plug. It comes out in August. I'm so chuffed about this. I've done it with a gig photographer called Helen Millington in Manchester, and it's called Don't Believe the Hype. And it's literally loads of mad monochrome photographs of gentrification and people having wine at £10 a glass right next to open bins and rats in Manchester because they think it's cool and it's scenesterish. But it also goes on to the big glass buildings that people walk past just to look at their own reflection before they go and walk past the homeless and then go spend loads of money on fine dining or a tiny bag of chips which cost you £5 that you can go on the shop to an independent chippy and get a proper portion and keep sustainable shops alive. So it's all about that. And it's also a lot of political stuff. I'm just going to give you 2 bits from it. It's called Reality versus Normality and Burying the Believers. Reality and normality will not be televised. Camp Fair will clash with algorithm anarchists. I live in a boombox of bureaucracy and I stare at a scrapbook of unicorns and mirrors. The soulless will slur with a curse, crown jewels to the favoured fools. Kinetic energy will ignite the cast of creatives and we are propelled into an odyssey of mischief. Newspapers will stoke and poke the fire. Adrenaline-fueled assaults will wave to ambient light. Dry those eyes on sandpaper and drop frozen shoulder while we're smelling the whiskey and tasting the daffodils. Intelligence suppression, dictated ideology, they have a 2-page ad-lib manifesto, a demolition derby of social structures, rewired principles force-fed by disciples. They burnt the lexicon of us libertarians with a political apothecary of concocted aggression measures. Visionaries are concealed in cargo containers, but hope will shine bright in the dark. I will not subscribe to their fake placated policies. Any interest and enthusiasm has lapsed and expired. Embryonic spirits are groomed by corporate criminals, and I will not bark at Bedlam's door. because they mode it bold and it's cheaply sold. There's a propaganda painting at a poll station. That Petri dish is a gutter of an alien nation, and I ain't going to gate trash their trash party scene. Let's kick up leaves in this Indian summer. Kick up leaves in Indian summer. Time to choke and strangle the oppressor, because under a blood-red sky it's time for a successor. See, they buried their believers with their melted souls, dystopian highways that paid in fool's gold, sellotapes on eyes and hooks in skin, abrasions on knees and blood-clotted grin. The fragrant opinions of cremated truth, they've reached the ceiling with its leaky roof. The catapult puzzles and hidden provocation, disjointed messages, disorganisation. The capitalist coyotes that hunt in packs and the VIP vultures picking up their table scraps. And they've offered false hope with blood-filled decanters, selling poisoned apples they want to dismantle, digging cesspits with pins and needles and hoping that the wise man drops real gold for freedom. Because equations are created to confuse the weak, the mask is to hide the raven's beak, alarm bells shriek, death bells toll, they're huddling and cuddling, keeping us in the cold. And they market that mayhem and they flog it in hordes. They've painted pictures on advert boards, but now they're washing away our acidic tears as they rip the scripts of our satirical jeers. Because their costumes are created to deflect the failures, and they are not the angels who came to save us. They have second-hand theories and first-degree crimes, and their incendiary solutions will implode in time. They will implode in time. Boris is yours is now imploding in time. It's time to move on and jog on and create a new line. Thank you. Serious stuff over and done with. I believe I've still got a few minutes left. I'm trying to keep it timed, but I thought I'll add a little bit on. It's now come to quarter to, the next show's on in half an hour. I'm going to rattle through about 6 or 7 minutes of more light-hearted stuff. And this first one, for anyone that's listening, if you do get this to America, it's very English. So it's about toilet walls, it's about trams, it's about buses, it's about taking acid, friends at festival, not me, and it's about a city centre that I live in, Manchester. But hopefully it'll translate across the same. And this one's about getting a tram into town. Shit the bed, what was that? Have you never heard of a diplodocus? I only boarded the pink line to get to town the closest. Called the cops, I'm off my chops, came from a mobile device, and his mate was banned from Facebook for posting pictures of an airy house. Discussions about Chewbacca, is it a dick or a dog's red rocket? And why does a girl's makeup run, but stays on your clothes when you wash it? Debates about Jeremy or Boris, like his signing to be burnt or hung, and a young musical protege cup overflows whilst announcing good singers die young. An art student isn't part of culture. He says it currently isn't his time. His mates sit bored taking selfies, then they board to another tram line. The girls at Talking Leeds Festival, they're going to let their hair down, but Glasgow's don't want a name check. It's just too far to trek down south. Or they didn't get a ticket. See, I jump off board at Market Street and I jib through the gardens to the station, and the only conversation I experience is choice of particular libation, because down at Piccadilly there's the moody side. Dog eat dog is prowling inside, he's knocking hard on Rapunzel's door. She retracts her hair from his dirty 54, and his sidekick Zebedee's on his toes and dilated, and this fucking crank should be castrated. He said he's a party geezer from 80s rave as he clutches his 2 peanuts in a rusty suitcase. Duracell Dave's got a bag of swag, AAA service oozes from his bag, Crack Pipe Carol, Bramfall Phil, shaking and rattling, they've just run from the bill. Clayton Chris, stinks of piss, Hot Town Hazel, mops up jizz, Droylston Donna is Larry and Gold, and Aldenshaw Andy compliments her painted toes. But these are 2 tram lines with contrasting stories, a diverse theatre celebrates Manchester's glory, a 3-zone play of beggars and believers. These are the Yellow Submarines of Manchester's new age script writers. Until I get on the bus. Because I joined the bustle of life's lethargic, I've unmasked the classes, it's a worldly party. I travel down alleys of grotesque graffiti, where heads are bowed and no one sees clearly. There's echoes in cans that bleed from the curse, there's box set brags and spoiler alert. A lad's telling tales to light up a crowd. The light was on red, but the flower was still out. That is a euphemism. There's diamond and painted fingers frame phones, puffed up lips tell tales of woe. Tinder boy was 35, he said he was 30, he's even got a kid but she still got flirty. A mate's got olives and she's making tagine. The chemist was shut, she got CBD. A fella's like Aladdin and a carpet vac is coming round after courier spray tan and a nap. And Wendy's got emails from her prince, but it's fraud. Her husband got them from filthy young girls abroad. The cops are knocking on the house down the street. It's either unpaid fines or a terrorist meet. And Jane has got gossip coming back from the vets. 2 jabs, she stands, 2 jobs on the shelf. Jenny's getting married to a guy that slapped her, but Gary got divorced now, he's full of laughter. There's grafter bants and football chat. Van's got seized, he was grasped by a rat. The Amazon box pile starts to grow, but his house won't flood because the market's slow. And Vanilla Ice starts work at Asda soon, he's going to get discount cheap fags and booze. Goth docs on seat with platform soles, and mascara running because a bloke's shoulder's cold. And fishnet trawlers caught in spider's web. Her ladders are too tall, so no one fell. There's 10 green bottles, Tina's ready for a fall, but the red's all gone, she struggles to walk. See the cats linger outside with polythene veils, no commuter chaos, there's no bust late trains. The smoke bombs are lingering on the double deck views. Tonight, one of these lot will be on North West News. Thank you. This one's about the overgentrification of Manchester. I'm sat where crack and smack once ruled, another illicit activity ensued. There's a derelict warehouse, forgotten industry. I'm now met with corporate chattery. There are vans on social, not them of dibble. They're canvassing the coated in pale ale dribble. Instagrammers after instant grams, twattering twits, increasing fake fam. Vapors, fakers, turn-ups to knees. There are those one stroke from turning Japanese. There are beards and sleeves with cider and gin. Those on craft ale till a new trend kicks in. Why is it called the cutting room square? Any association to your crap peaky blinder hair? Your bag and bag of dip, you're blind of it's substandard. Mate, if this was the 90s, you still wouldn't have landed. I'm informed it's a centrepiece, a new public realm. This ain't Game of Thrones, there's no dragon at the helm. The copper green sentinels depict history more like a raising Manchester's empire, replacing it with commercial greed. Because here come the hitlers invading from bars, trying to monopolise with tables and chairs. But they're the clever with booze from their stores, and it's a public place, you muppet councils, and they know the score. So it's a fine line ensuing from what I see, vying 4 fake profiles or a real ID. Some inflated egos, some low self-esteem. This is the new ancoats of living, it's the Islington of dreams. But I tell you what, they can run, they can't hide. Here comes last man standing, selling swag and some snide. He's only after coins to get a bus or a brew, but you think it's for digging, you say way to make him move. See, since there's an internet pleaser, this ain't about them. It's the ever-expanding gentrified power dens, because where once was identity and a city's heartbeat, it's now replaced with aesthetics, conformity and sheep. Because Manchester had tables for dancing on. Now it's got pavements for sleeping on. They live under the shadow of the hacienda. But the scores on the doorways are just helpless shelters. A city that says it does things differently. We're all now just a vote commodity. A city with 2 multi-millionaire football teams, but the scores on the doorways are still broken dreams. So if we go down in the city today, we're sure of a big surprise. If we look down on the streets today, there are people in disguise. Sleeping bags, cardboard box, ripped up jackets and shoeless socks. But this is where the greedy and the capitalists will have their picnic. So will we walk past? Or we'll give them a hand and not take their biscuit. Thank you. This last one is my last one for the night, so thank you very much for Matt having me down or up and part of Morecambe Fringe. I've enjoyed my day so far. Hopefully I'll get back up and do some more stuff. I'm Jack Horner, also known as Leon the Pig Farmer. This has been talking myself out of trouble. For anyone that wants to know out there, I am on Facebook, I'm on Insta, and I'm on Twitter as well, and I have websites. And I've now just created Linktree, which makes it easier so everyone can come into my little labyrinth of hell and see wherever I go with music and stuff like that. So I will spread Linktree out, which is a new device I've found recently, which is great. So one more poem, and this is around the toilet walls in my favourite live music venue in Manchester called the Playhouse. And the moment that I walk out, a lot of my friends are taking non-pharmaceutical products to enhance their evening's experience. Lysergic acid. And it's called the Playhouse and the Day Trippers. The Playhouse is a universe centre. It's even got a satellite moon upstairs called Akbar. The quirky vibes and cosy corners, there are alley rats, vinyls and basement dwellers. And this is about them, or what people said on the toilet walls. There is Dutton, he smells of cheese. There's Carl Lucy and ex-Tuesday. Andy paved the greatest tour. Someone else loves Hitler's war. Lee's disgrace. Carlos a dog. Joey did nothing wrong. Pop is a slag. Miles loves Emma. Respect a woman. Kill a predator. I'm informed to live, laugh, love. And to put seeds in their skull. Then I'm told some one cat cook. There's another dirty bastard who's fucking a duck. There's a post to get new metal back. 4 spare change you can fill loose crack. Anna, she's got smelly knickers and I don't know who the hell it is. George Richards. There's another geezer called Leg Puppy. Anonymous loves a Manchester girlie. Street soldiers, they play hangman. Then there's poison someone drank. Matt licks gooch. Willie says lies. Chloe's got crabs. That ought to be lies. And then I hear about Rainy Miller and that Fleetwood Mac should be Prime Minister. There's another geezer called Fitzpatrick. He slept with 3 girls. He must have scored a hat-trick. Jasper Wills was getting clapped and I pissed my pants at a porcelain trap. So wear a hat. Get ahead. 2-story glories where peers are met. The plastered posters ceases free. These are just toilet messages with everyone's needs. This is the Playhouse in its glory. Urinals, cubicles, they all tell stories. If anyone here or out there feels left out, head into your local and to the toilets and write out loud. Thank you. Then I met the Day Tripper. We can clap if you like. Because the Day Trippers drop the bass with smiley faces, party people in their heyday, let it settle, build it up, they build a bridge for spirograph look. Acid starts to take its toll, they're in comfort blankets or fig rolls, another in his full transition, pinpoint a gurney disposition, so dive into squids with stars above. They're into quarries to rock with love, there are punk flamingos on gated doors, western saloon shot to the floor, coloured paper, blotted party, shades in rain, it's only started, bouncy castle, rainbow waves, fuck tomorrow, they're here today. They're hugging posts to lock them down, they're on a Zeppelin ride into the clouds. Factory 51 has long got bone strong, but this is his true swan song. They dive back into squids with stars above, they're back into the quarry to rock with love. There are still punk flamingos on gated doors, western saloon, they're shot to the floor. So off you pop, you double dropper, bouncing on that space opera. Juicy Lucy Starburst one, they join the dots to right from wrong. They're off to meet the crazy arcus Wonderland has just got better. They see tiny heads on normal people, but this is their church, this is their church steeple. Not for my place to judge. I've been the Pig Farmer, thank you very much, good night.
is wise, hatred is foolish. In this world, which is getting more and more closely interconnected, we have to learn to tolerate each other. We have to learn to put up with the fact that some people say things that we don't like. We can only live together in that way. But if we are to live together and not die together, we must learn a kind of charity and a kind of tolerance, which is absolutely vital to the continuation of human life on this planet.